All right, let's do this, y'all. All right, cool. So appreciate you guys as always for being here. Hope everybody's doing amazing. Just wanted to say, first of all, the purpose of these calls so that we know why we're here. We're not just showing up to show up. We're actually, have the right intentions. We understand like the goal of these and, what we're really going to get out of this and how we can take this information to really go out and apply it to, again, form better habits, new habits, and really be able to grow from this as we have the application of it. So purpose of these calls really are to hold each other accountable throughout our personal process, our professional process, to grow as leaders and be able to really develop and duplicate other people. Okay. The main topic for today that I've really been kind of just putting together throughout this week, guys, I really do come to these calls with notes and, preparation from kind of the conversations that we've had throughout the week with various people, as well as, what I may be going through as well. And what I see really needs to, what needs attention. But I really wanted to put together this specific call today to really focus and hone in on, what it really means to develop ourselves in the sense of being able to develop and multiply through other people. So developing ourselves to develop and multiply through others, through other people. And I'll kind of touch on what I mean by that. But I wanted to do something a little different on this call. Instead of just jumping right into that, I wanted to kind of open up a discussion, open up conversation between all of us. Don't be shy. Okay. Don't be shy. Please. Cause I would love to hear from you guys. I know this whole call, it's not about me. I just have something to share with you, bring to the table to kind of, start up conversation and really just kind of recap from the week, recap the month, whatever it may be. But I really want to know, starting off, how's everybody doing? Like, how's everybody's, mental state? How's everybody's emotional state, physical state, your health, right? How's everybody's week been? How's everybody's, month of July been? Anybody can open up. Go for it.
All right, can you guys hear me? All right, it's been a great month so far. Definitely, it's been productive for the most part. Like I was telling Abby the other day, I'm gonna be doing the 75 hard after my birthday because started a 90-day run and pretty much it's been like exactly 15 days apart. So the first 15 days is slowly start building the good habits, and then as soon as the 75 hard hits, it's game on. But I feel like a lot of growth has happened in the last month and a lot more consistent growth. So slowly but surely, instead of, for example, we got to look at life as, compounding. We can't look at it. We can't look at life as just throwing standard lots into our life because, we set high expectations for ourselves at times, and then we forget that there's going to be, some little hiccups along the way that we have to be ready to embrace, whatever happens. And, when there's no risk management in life, we tend to fall off the rails for a while to the point where, we don't do anything. But besides that, July's been good.
July's been great also. Just been, with doing the 75 hard, just been taking my time super serious. Realizing that there's a lot of area to improve. So just chopping away and keeping it going.
I've been having a up and down. Once again, I started at 75 hard. I ended up failing, so I had to start over. But just seeing, I made it to 8 days. But seeing just the progress that was made in those 8 days, and even though I did not fulfill all the categories, I did, in other categories. So I saw the growth, and it's just like you said, staying consistent. Challenging myself to continue that because I feel like it's been a long time since I really, challenged myself with like defined lines. Like you step outside this line, you fail. Because we always, will this happen or that? So really accepting that challenge and looking forward to the growth.
Very cool, bro. Is there anybody else on here? Rachel, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, actually my July is going amazing so far. Obviously, after Tony and I went through that whole thing last month, coming into this month was just a completely different like perspective. One, feeling more like alive, to be honest. And so I feel really ready to just hone in on little habits that I haven't been consistent with, and that's what I'm really trying to do. It's just trying to have more positive outlook on life in every aspect. So things are going well on my end.
Good, awesome. I wanted to share that. I wanted us to open up in the beginning because it's not fun, or for me at least, it's no fun just me talking the whole time. I think kind of bringing that sense of camaraderie and being able to share, I should have said this from the beginning, but we can do it next week, or if you guys want to share, really highlighting some of the wins that we had from the week. You guys did a pretty good job on doing that anyways, but really highlighting some of the wins that we had from the week. They could be physical wins, mental, emotional wins, financial, spiritual wins, big or small, doesn't matter. Any realizations or breakthroughs that you had, and also sharing some challenges you had this week. Josh, just kind of sharing, things have been up and down. Appreciate you for being transparent with your journey so far with just the 75 hard. It's hard. It's a complete, it's a complete shift in mindset, and you really are able to see the gaps in your life. But talking about some of the challenges that we're experiencing, anything that we're working to improve or change, and just kind of sharing that with everybody. And, honestly, guys, any ideas, I'm always asking Alex, and I'm always asking, other people like Mike Sotero and things like that, ideas, right? Any ideas that you maybe have had, or light bulbs that you've had over the week or the month that you want to share, maybe, for our personal growth, individual growth, our collective growth as the team, for leaders in general, the way that we do things, shift in mindset, perspective, whatever it is. I'd be so down to maybe just start opening up the calls with these things to really, kind of drive momentum for what we're doing and kind of feed off of each other and just build a different perspective. I'm reading that book right now, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I'm rereading every chapter twice. He says that in the beginning. And one of the parts that he's been talking about is, you're like a major key to success. You're like a secret to success, they said in the book, is your ability to be able to see and think in terms of other people's point of view, being able to see their angle, their perspective on life. So maybe being able to open up with something like that from you guys, I think that would be super powerful, because we're all growing. Like nobody on this call is just staying stagnant, right? Or becoming complacent and going backwards. Like we're all growing. We all have different experiences, and that perspective I think would be, gold for all of us. So I do want to get into this call. It's Saturday again, I know, but we come together for about 30 minutes or so and really just dive in. So today, like I said, really wanted to talk about developing ourselves to be able to develop and multiply through other people. And the reason why I shared it that way, and I'm going to bring up John Maxwell a lot. He talks a lot about leadership. He's the godfather of leadership. And I think I said this last week, but I remember he said on one of the audios I was listening to, basically saying, if you can dedicate and commit an hour a day, a certain amount of time every single day to one subject matter, to one focus, to one skill, one thing for the next 5 years, you can seriously become a master in that area. And I'm pretty sure I said it on last week's call, but it's so powerful and it's so relevant, because when you really think about it, whatever you're doing in life, you will eventually get the results that you want. And Tony and I were talking about this yesterday when we were on the phone. Chairman is in trading and in everything that we're doing, it's not a matter of if anymore. It never has been about if. It's always been about when. But we all know what we need to do. right? We all know the things that we need to do on a daily basis. It's our willingness, right? It's our ability to stay consistent for a long period of time until we actually get the results that we're looking for. Like, I already know I can do this. I already know that we can and you can. It's our willingness at the end of the day. We already know what we need to do. We have all the resources. Are we being resourceful enough? Are we going out and actually putting in the work? So three points that I'm going to break down, and I think this will be so helpful, because we cannot, like, myself, but you guys, because this call is for me, but it's also for you guys in a big part, because I can't build a team without people like you. You can't build a team without people like you. And that's another thing that John Maxwell said is teamwork, like your inner circle. You cannot do great things. You cannot go far in life unless you have a team, and a team that's built on a strong foundation, right? We know our values. We know why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing. And we see the vision very, very clearly. And we're all bought in on that vision. You know, everybody is going to be different in their own way in their pursuit, but we're all, connected through that one vision. And so these 3 points that I wanted to break down, that John Maxwell talks about very heavily when he gives his leadership talks, is number one, developing ourselves. Well, I think the first question, and turning these into questions to get our minds thinking, right? Finding answers and solutions, is how do we develop ourselves? That's number one. We can't go out and help and develop and duplicate others until we're able to efficiently and effectively develop ourselves, right? And that just starts with being coachable. A lot of people think that we need to have all, everything kind of aligned in order to go out and do things. No, you just need to recognize what we need to do and be coachable enough and willing enough to actually go out and do it. So how do we develop ourselves? That's number one. And the ways that I've always learned, and my mentors have always taught and told me, is through consistency and repetition. And I'm saying a lot of the things that we've already heard before. Mike Sotero said it the other week. What we say, what he says isn't anything new. It's just regurgitated information. But the fact of the matter is, it's coming from a new angle, a new perspective, and a new individual that could spark something, right? Have you guys ever heard of that saying, all it takes is one idea, one person, one conversation, one event to take place in your life to completely shift everything? And I was taking a shower the other day, and I don't ever play music while I'm showering, but for some reason, I had a Lil Wayne song in my head. I know this is funny. I don't ever listen to him, but I had a song of his from a long time ago playing in my head. And for some reason, the words that he was saying, I couldn't, I didn't know what he was saying. So I went back and I listened to the song again, and I've listened to this song probably 50 plus times, right? But it wasn't until that 50th time that I heard the lyrics of that one part of the song that I actually understood what he was saying, because he says it so fast. And the reason why I bring up this silly analogy is because sometimes when we're on calls, or we show up to events or meetings or one-on-ones or whatever it is, or we're reading something, right, or audios, it takes time after time, repetition after repetition, for you to finally make sense of whatever you're listening to or whatever you're hearing. I've heard things so many times that it clicked for me so many times later. And that's why coachability is so important, and that's why repetition is so important. So how do we develop ourselves? It's through repetition and consistency of doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I'll give you, examples with trading and with building, right? It's so simple. We plug into, I know, Josh, you were saying the DeLorean, right? You were plugging into that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was excited about that. I didn't know my speaker was on, but you were talking about that at the beginning. Yeah, and, because we are going through struggles or whatever, but, really excited about the DeLorean.
Bro, you actually gave me a little scare, because I was like, who is that? But no, you're yeah, you're absolutely right. So going through specific, I see, we see this all the time, people jumping from one thing to another. Bro, right? Stay consistent with one thing. Don't get that shiny object syndrome. If something is working right now, stick with it. You will probably experience setbacks along the way, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. We just need to stay consistent, because how can we know what works if we don't know what doesn't work? Does that make sense? So when you're learning your strategy, like Einstein, whatever was it the light bulb or electricity? Y'all don't judge me, okay? Whatever he did, he figured out 10,000 ways of how not to do something. But you can't figure out what to do, like how to do something right, until you actually are aware of what not to do. And that's with anything that we do. So all of this repetition is giving us insight and awareness to what not to do and what to do. And then once we figure out what actually works, we continue to compound on that. So we gotta get real about how are we developing ourselves, because everything that we do, guys, everything that we do, our teams are watching you. And people like future team members, people that are on your social media, people that are in your contacts or whatever it may be, everybody is watching you. And you're setting an example for what's okay, for what to do and what not to do. So just keep that in mind. The whole thing of me just saying that is how do we develop ourselves? How do you develop yourselves? Through repetition and consistency. And one great way you can do that is choose a time throughout the day. It could be different times depending on your schedule, or a consistent time where you're plugging into one thing, right? I have a time dedicated to when I'm on Go Live and I'm practicing, right? Whatever they're saying, I'm practicing. I have a time throughout the day where I am messaging people, I am building the business, and I'm getting exposures. I have a time throughout the day that I'm dedicating an hour to my personal leadership development. John Maxwell, what I was telling Tony the other day is, or on our phone call, is I'm going back through the welcome guide. Y'all, I created that welcome guide for me. And then I was like, okay, this is just duplicatable for everybody. But I'm going back through that welcome guide, and I'm going through basically the IBO training that's set up. And all of that training is not mine. It's from Jason and Matt and all these other guys. So I'm going through those videos step by step, one video or half a video a day. And I'm just going through with the intention of taking that information and applying it to get a result. Okay, so right now I'm going through the Chairman Bootcamp. Today I'm going to go through day 3. I might repeat all 7 days so I make sure I really understand, and then go back through it in 90 days. I don't know, right? Leadership training, 1 hour a day for the next 5 years. You will become a master in leadership. And what does this world need more of? Great leaders, people that lead by example through their actions, not their mouth. So that's number 1. I'm harping on this because we cannot develop a team, which is what everybody wants to do, be able to actually build other people until we know how to develop ourselves. And that's what John Maxwell said is great leaders, they have a self-improvement, a self-development program. And the way that I see it is, we have calls every single week. These calls right here, right? That's number 1. We have, tomorrow, the Chairman Mentorship. We have a team call, the Zoom to Success call for all of our teams to tap into. And that's just a great way to build each other's belief and community and plug back people into, the alignment and the connection for why we're really here. I think on Wednesdays, there's the Next Wave mentorship, Chairman Mentorship, whatever it's called. There's so many opportunities to plug in and grow. It's just how consistent are we in our willingness to show up, okay? So that's number 1. We have a program and a development for ourselves. The welcome guide is a great starting point for everybody. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is developing ourselves, right? So when we can develop ourselves, that leads to our ability and competency, our confidence, right, to develop others. So if it's so hard to be able to, help other people grow if we're not growing ourselves. I know this is really common sense and really repetitive, but it's so damn true because so many people miss this. They think that it's okay to take a day off. We know that, when we don't go to the gym one day, or work out one day, it's a lot easier to not go the next day. If I set my alarm for 5 a.m. every single day and I miss a day because I don't feel like it or it's inconvenient at that time for whatever reason, it's a lot easier for me to say yes the next day to skipping it, pressing snooze. So that's why it's so important that we take our personal development seriously. Because guys, my Instagram stories, I'll be real with you, they were okay. They were decent amount of people like watching earlier this year. But ever since I started staying consistent with the 75 hard and posting value, like just sharing value after value after value after value, my views And plus I'm actually reaching out to more people, but my views have gone up. And not only that, what I really pay attention to is if I'm actually like going on and speaking into my Instagram stories and I share like a little video of myself or whatever that I'm talking about and its value, I look to see how consistent those numbers are from the first video to the fourth video, because there's like 4 little videos that you can go through, right? Y'all get where I'm going with? So I look to see how consistent those are sometimes. And the numbers are very consistent across the board, meaning they're either just skipping through and they don't want to exit because they're looking for something, or which is good because they're still on my story, or they're actually listening to what I'm saying. And I'm building up people and a following by what the value that I'm giving out. So the development that we are getting from ourselves, we're able to share that with other people. And that's what John Maxwell said right here. He said there's 4 ways to add value to people. There's 4 ways to add value to people. Number 1, and when I heard this, I've heard this like 10 times so far. Okay. When I first heard him say this, it just completely went right over my head. I didn't pay attention to it. I was like, because it's so simple. And sometimes the simplest things just go right over our head and we miss it because we don't take it seriously. But just hear me out. Maybe you'll go listen to it yourself and you'll really understand. But he said 4 ways to add value to people. Number 1, value people. You have to value people first. If you don't value people, you can't add value to them. I know, really common sense. Okay. Number 1, value people. Number 2, make yourself valuable. Develop yourself. Okay. Number 3, be able to connect and relate to what other people value. Cool. No, be able to connect and relate to what other people value. And then number 4, he didn't share this, but he only shared this because I don't know what you guys all believe in, but take this for God or the universe. But he basically said, do the things that God values, or, in another case, do things that the universe values. Okay. So I really took that and I said, wow, okay, value people, make myself valuable, and then understand what other people value. Okay. So when I'm doing everything that I'm doing and I'm posting on it, jab, 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 right hook, right? What Gary Vee talks about, I'm constantly giving out value. I'm constantly sharing value. And that's why people follow you. People follow people that are of value and know where they're going. I am certain about where I'm going as far as like continuing to grow and have success in my pursuit. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm clear on myself and who I am and what I want, what I deserve, and why I'm doing what I'm doing and where I'm going. And people follow people like that. So you have to show that, right? So developing ourselves leads to our ability and confidence and competency to develop others. So number 1, develop ourselves, right? The number 2, once we do that, now we can actually go out and develop others through that, giving value, okay? Number 3 is when we can develop others through our example, through our consistency and repetition, right? We set the tone, we set the standard. That is when, and only when, we can duplicate and multiply our efforts through others. Okay, not 2, not 4, through others. That's why they always say, I'm not promoting 2 events, I'm promoting through events, because the actual event is not as important as what we're doing before. Okay, just like right now, it's not a matter of what matters is our ability to develop ourselves now so that we can multiply our efforts, what we've been able to do, into and through other people. Okay, so I'm gonna share a few things. I know this was a little drawn out, but I really wanted to hone in on a lot of these details, because these details are what a lot of people miss and oftentimes are not things that people really talk about. And I'm gonna share a kind of, I don't want to use the wrong word with this. It was just kind of a really surprising, but it made sense. But when I first heard it, it was a really surprising fact, a statistic that John Maxwell said. And don't be discouraged by it. Actually feel empowered, because we have all the resources and tools and support we need to be able to do this. It's just, again, what's our coachability index? What is our willingness to actually go out and do the things? Okay, how resourceful are you? So he said, basically 90% of all leaders only have followers. And what he means by that is most people, most leaders, 90% of all leaders don't ever actually develop or duplicate other leaders. They just have followers. And when I heard that, I was like, holy crap, that is actually like a really astounding statistic, what he's saying. And if you think about all of the leaders, because leaders, leadership at the very, very low level is a position level leader, okay? Managers, whatever, because you have a title. They have followers because they have people, people have to follow them, right? But most people never get to the point, his 5 stages, his 5 levels of leadership, most people never get to the point of taking those followers and actually being able to develop and duplicate and multiply through those people to, actually create leaders through them. So that's why I'm really diving into this, because I understand that we can all create and accomplish the goals that we set out, but it starts with us and taking the accountability and responsibility of how well of a job am I doing of developing myself? How well of a job am I doing to share my development, right? My value that I'm accruing within myself with others, and how well is my ability to teach that with others, creating duplication within the people that I'm around. Okay, so those are really, really key questions to ask ourselves, because we can't create and build a team without being able to do the first part, developing ourselves. Okay, so I want to just share a last couple things, because I think this will really help us start moving along this track, because I know all of us, like, okay, Mike Sotero told me this the other day, and I didn't realize that that's what he said. He sent me a message basically saying something along the lines, and in the message, I did not see this. I thought he said a month, but he said a day. So he basically said the reality of it is, we were talking about P5000. He said the reality of it is, you're worth $2K a day. And at the time I read his text, I thought he said $2K a month. And he said, the reality of it is you're worth $2K a day. And then I did the math on, what that looks like over the course of the year. That's over $740,000 annually. And by him saying that to me, it just completely stretched my entire mindset and my belief. I was like, holy shit, you're right. $2K a day, $740,000 a year. I'm just like seeing this in real time. You guys are all, whether you're on your P600, right? We're on your P1000, your P2000. You guys are all worth that amount in a day. But you have to be able to believe that. And it all starts with your ability to develop yourself, because the more that you can keep the promises that you made to yourself in the beginning, long after the feeling that you set it in goes away, that's how you build real confidence. And that's how you build real discipline and habits that you can build on. And that's why I'm so in on the 75 hard, because that's what it does. Discipline, mental toughness, confidence, self-worth, by keeping the promises that you set to yourself, no matter, how many times you have to go back and reset, get it right, because this isn't just a destination type of thing. This is, I'm creating, a new beast out of this whole program, challenge, whatever you want to call it. So let me talk about this, and we'll wrap it up. So basically, a couple things that we can do to develop ourselves. Number one, we already talked about it. Okay. Find a time throughout the day that you can dedicate to obviously go live. That's hands down important. Okay. But number two, your development as a leader. What are you plugging into to develop yourself in that area? Okay. And another way that we can do this, I was telling Tony this the other day, set a goal for when you are going to do a full overview on your own. You can have somebody intro, okay? I can close it out if you want to, whatever. But you've like, y'all, we know this. If we don't set goals on things, it's just a wish. It's just a dream. It's just a thought. It never actually goes into action. So as soon as we set a goal date, a date on what we want to accomplish or what we want to be able to do, then it becomes a reality. Now we can start reverse engineering our actions into a day-to-day format of what we can do to get to that date and be able to do that, okay? It's not about the pressure of the date. It's more like I used to get so focused on the date that I was choosing because I was like, oh my God, if I don't hit this goal by this date, I'm not good enough for this, and that, or, I should just quit this goal. But the reality is it's not about the goal date. The goal date is just to help you measure the actions that you've got to be taking every single day in order to achieve that goal. And so we want to be able to do that. Otherwise, we'll never actually hit any goals that we set out to do. So this is a great one, guys, because how are we supposed to get to a point with our team? We have the Monday through Friday overviews, the Zoom overviews, and what we do, our example, by showing up and, doing all these things that we're supposed to be doing, how are we supposed to get to a point where our team is duplicating what we're doing if we don't ever start doing it? Y'all get where I'm going with this? So number one, ask yourself, how do I want to contribute? How do I want to be able to grow my team? When I first got started and I was working with the person that brought me on, okay, I didn't have a team. I was in his group chat, and that's cool, right? And I was looking at it, because this is what he was telling me. I was looking at that as, okay, this is my team. How can I contribute, right? How can I contribute? Because I was so good at, being able to step into that leadership role, take that responsibility, that once I actually had a team of 12, once I actually had a team of 30, 75, 100 plus, I knew the type of leader I needed to be because I was already doing it. So that's why I'm encouraging all of you guys to ask yourself, how do I want to contribute? And take the team already that we've built as your own. You guys get where I'm going, right? And ask yourself, what can I do? Because when I get to a point where I have 5 people, 12 people, 30 people on my team, I want to be ready. I already know the actions. I already know the mindset, the play-by-play of, how to do and what to do, okay? So intro calls. Tony already told me, Abby, he did the call on Friday, right? Crushed it. Now he told me next week, I want to intro for these, XYZ days. Alex has been stepping up, and she's seen a drastic shift in her ability to speak. And we were doing this for quite some time, but how can we ever get to being able to do a full overview? Which is, come on, guys, we can't go chairman if we don't know how to present. So how can we get to that point if, we can't even get the intro calls down? And I know all of you guys can. It's just about, stepping up and being able to do it, right? Committing. It's scary, but that consistency is what's going to help you get to where you want to go. So send me a message, mark in your calendar every week the day or days that you want to step up and do the intro calls, okay? Because there's opportunities for you to do that so you can grow and develop, and then now you know how to develop people that are coming in that also want to build this too, okay? And then you guys don't have to say it right now, but just think about it. What do you guys want to see in the chat? And I know the chat is not everything. Trust me. I've seen chats where it's somebody's whole life and whole day. They're in the chat all day long. I'm not that person. I'll come in and out throughout the day and share some things, and I'll keep doing it regardless of anybody else doing it, because I have a team, right? So you take on that responsibility for yourself. You are telling the universe, hey, universe, I'm ready for a team of 12. I'm ready for a team of 30, and I'm taking that responsibility. I'm making those decisions. It is conspiring a way to fill in the blanks for what you're asking for, what your decisions are making, right? So I know that the chat, it's there to keep everyone updated and honestly connected and informed. But think about for yourself, what types of things when you have your own team, or you probably already do, that you want to be sharing in here. I'm just giving you guys ways to develop and take responsibility, okay? So what, things that you can share, what are you tuning into throughout the week that you're doing in the academy? Post about it. And then edify back to the platform so everyone knows how they can actually go out and do it too, right? I mean, I can do it and I will continue to do it, but again, how are we supposed to be able to grow if we don't all step up and take that opportunity to develop by just doing the little things? You don't have to post every day, but post when you're tuning in. Take a screenshot. You've been seeing a lot of us do that. Take a screenshot of, maybe a trade that you took that was called out. Write a little thing about it. I don't know. None of this is mandatory, right? But it's volunteer, and it's another way to help us develop and grow and get into that mindset. Cool. So, yeah, last thing. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Yes. The last thing I was going to say is the weekly schedule. These questions I had to ask myself in the very beginning, do I have a calendar? Do I have the weekly schedule in the calendar, the chairman mentorship, right? The calls that we do throughout the week, the Zoom overviews. Mike Sotero, he does the Zoom overviews at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. I think they even do them on the weekends. I have those in my calendar, right? I have our Zooms in the calendar. I have this call, the Saturday leadership in the calendar, the Sunday Zoom to Success, the chairman mentorship, Mikey's, Sunday night kickoff call at 9 p.m. Eastern. I have these in my calendar, right? Always showing up. That's a way to develop yourself. That's a way to set an example. Are you actively involved? I said this before, but your team and your future team will do whatever you do, whatever they see. We become whatever we see. So if they don't see you on the calls, if they don't see you posting, if they don't see you, doing whatever you're doing, they're not going to do that, or they're going to do that, depending on whatever you do. Okay. You can set the example now based on the actions that you take and your consistency. And I said this to Tony the other day. It's the last thing I'll say, but guys, give me the opportunity to edify you. Give me the opportunity to edify you in front of your people. You know how cool that is? Like going on the intro calls or setting yourself up on certain calls that we do throughout the week, or honestly having a win and you share it with me and I shout you out in the chat. Give me the opportunity to celebrate and edify you in front of your people. You know how much that fires them up? It wasn't platinum. When I hit platinum 600, that was cool, but it wasn't until I hit platinum 1000 when, for whatever reason, everybody on my team wanted to start building. I actually deranked for a moment because I had too many IBOs on my team when I hit platinum, like crazy. Good problems to have, but I had to go recruit more people to balance the scale. Okay. So give me the opportunity to edify you. I want to, y'all. Whenever y'all do the intros, I'm like, oh, yes, like let me just praise y'all. So I really wanted to dive into that. I know it was a lot of information, but this is something that's so important. John Maxwell, every time I listen to any leadership YouTube that he has or podcast, this is the stuff that he talks about and repetitiously goes over. And so I think it's apparent that we go over it and make sure that we're conscious and now aware of, okay, I've got to have a schedule. I've got to really do this now. I know what I can do. I know what I need to do. Now it's just about doing it. Your ability to go where you want to go from where you are now to where that gap is just your willingness and consistency and coachability to actually do the work. That's it. We all know what to do. And if you don't, ask questions. I am so accessible. It's not even funny to the right people, but I am for our team. So I appreciate y'all. I do want to open it up to questions, comments, anything that you guys are feeling right now. Maybe you want to share that you took away. Please don't be shy. Don't be a stranger. And I'm going to stop recording, but please go ahead and share.